Yeah. Do we have any viewers?
I don't know. You just do it anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, we got 3 viewers.
Okay. All right. Great. I want to welcome everybody that is signed in and viewing us. We will try to answer a few questions. Tonight's subject is going to be the Gilmore House. We told you yesterday. Before I go any further, I want to introduce myself. I'm Kevin Cox, and sitting to the right of me, probably left on y'all's screen, this is
David Luke.
And we will get into some of the stuff that David has experienced later on in the show, or possibly in other shows. Before we start, we want to make a statement about what we're doing and why we're doing it and what it's not about. It's absolutely not about anything demonic or devil worshiping or anti-Christian, anti-Christ. We both think of ourselves as being Christian men. So
Yes, definitely.
All right. So to start with, in 2008, I purchased the house. It was located at 501 Gilmore Street in Waycross, Georgia. Therefore, that's why we call it the Gilmore House. I moved into this house with my family. The house, as far back as I could research on it, was built in 1927, and probably some of the structures predated 1927. It was a big, huge house. Beautiful wood floors throughout the house. I went in and started doing some work, some construction on this house, and a little while into our stay there, some odd things started happening. Butter dishes flying off of the microwave.
I remember you told me.
Yeah. There was a pantry type in this breezeway leading from the dining room to the kitchen, and the doors would slam. So the activity really got to its height when I went through a separation. Me and Jalen's mother, my son's mother, went through a split up, and I stayed in the house. I would later get some roommates. Nobody believed me. We're going to tell a few funny stories to start with. There was one night I was it got so hairy inside that house. They would not leave me alone. Whatever it was, would not leave me alone. I mean, you could feel the tension in the house. So I wound up getting my blanket, my pillow, and I think it was on a Thursday night because people were leaving the club. Everybody referred to me as Coach Cox because I had the semi-pro football team. And I remember some people leaving the club saying, "Oh, hell, Coach Cox done drunk now on the sidewalk." I was sleeping on the sidewalk, by God. I went going back in the house. But I wound up being able to overcome these things, overcome my. I wasn't sad, so I was scared of it. It ran me out of my own damn house, you know. All right, so I wound up getting some roommates. Like I said, it was a huge house, and none of the roommates believed me. And I remember coming home. I was coming home from work, and a roommate of mine named Alan. He was in the dining room. Was not set up as a dining room. We had it set up as like our computer game room, pool table.
Oh yeah.
And everything. So
like an entertainment room.
Like an entertainment room. And Alan's over there at the computer, and I walked by him and I patted him. You know, I said, "You having a good day?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm just now getting on the computer, Doug." And I walked past him, and I go into my room, and we heard females go to giggling in between the two of us. And I walked back down the hall. And,
how far apart? You could have been that far apart. You just touched it, right?
Well, the structure of this house, you walked in the front door, there was a study that had beautiful French doors to your right. And you had a petition type. It wasn't walls, they were like waist high.
Yeah,
Petition you walked through. And that was the dining room. And then to the right, in the dining room, there was a doorway. And you would go to my room. You would walk down that hallway. There was another big bedroom, a bathroom, and at both ends of the hall were half baths. There was a shower. Remember, there was a shower down at one end and a sink down at the other. So we were, I would say, at least 25, 30 feet away from him was my bedroom. So I had walked to my bedroom, and we heard the females giggling. We came back, and I came back, and I said, did you have the computer on?
Oh, you thought it was like something?
Yeah, I thought it was on the computer. He goes, no, I have not turned. And we're talking about Alan was an African American man, and
nice guy. I think I seen him a few years after that too.
He sat there, and I said, what did you hear, Alan? Because he was looking at me all crazy. He said, I heard females laughing. So we go trying to look. We went outside, couldn't find anything, and I remember him sitting back down at the computer, and I walked past him. I went to point, and I said, I told you. And I was walking to my bedroom. Evidently, he gets up. I did not know. He gets up, and he walks to the bedroom behind me, and my door slams. Bam! Well, yeah. At the same time, my bed was just right there inside the door. I took my wallet out, put it on the chest of drawers, and flopped down on the bed. At the same time, all this, it was almost like simultaneously. Door slams, I did all this, and I felt something hit me. And I said, excuse me, but I said, what the hell? And I got up, and but I got up, and I went back to the door, because my mind's going like, what did Alan throw at me?
Yeah.
And I look, and I notice it's my wallet stuff, and I open the door, and Alan goes, why did you slam the door in my face, man? I was coming behind you. And everything just, it was bam, 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 bam. Because the time it hit me, I jumped back up, I opened the door, and I got to say, I didn't touch the door. And he goes, the door slammed in my face, and I said, yeah, and you threw my wallet at me. And he goes, I haven't touched your wallet. And I looked.
I don't think he would have ever touched your wallet.
No, he would. I looked over on chest of drawers. My wallet was still sitting there, but all the stuff out of my wallet was laying all over the bed.
No,
so
there wasn't even time for that to happen.
It was like bam, 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 real quick like.
See, I've never heard some of this. So, I fully believe it because I did witness enough to go, whoa, yeah. Wait a minute, there's something going on here. But
well, the other thing was, and me and you had a mutual friend, and I can remember texting her one night because I was telling her about stuff going on in the house, and I texted her. There was something in my room. It was pitch dark. There was no. I had these big drapes over the windows, and it was dark in there. And I remember I was texting her. I said, now I'm not calling her name out because she doesn't know that. We're talking about her, so I'm not going to call her name out. I call it, text her, and I said, something's in the room with me, and I'm finna take a picture of it and send it to you, just in case something happens to me, somebody's in this room with me, and yeah, I do have the pictures, and we can share. We'll wind up sharing them on the page. They're very grainy. They are pictures that was taken in complete dark. I don't even think. No, I didn't even use the flash.
No, you didn't use the flash. I remember.
So she, I sent them to her, and I said, "There's a shadow in my room, and this is it." And she looked at it, and she sent me a message back. She goes, "Go outside, go to your porch, and I'll be there in a minute." And I went out to the porch, and I waited, and she came over. We sat on the steps of the porch. Huge house, huge porch. The porch was about as wide as a single wide trailer. It was a huge house. So we sat there and we talked, and we probably talked until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And then she told me that I owe her a lunch. Hey, Sarah. I owe her a lunch, and I for what? For coming over and sitting with me, you know. So we wound up going to a movie, and she still hadn't come inside the house.
Okay.
We sat on the steps, so she didn't come inside the house that night. It was another night. We went to the movies, and I bought her a meal. There may have been something more involved in it. I can't remember. I think that I had owed her something, and I was going to buy her a meal. So anyway, the night that we came in from the movie, she wanted to check the house out, and this was after the pictures were sent to her.
So she already kind of knew.
She already had some type of knowledge, but what I'm finna tell you, she had no clue about. So in that hallway, there was a big bedroom in the middle that had a bathroom attached to it. And we go in, and I'm telling her all about the house, beautiful structures inside the house. And we walk to the hall. I was going to take her to the bedroom to show her where the entity or whatever it was that we had in the picture.
Yeah.
So we're walking down the hallway, and she stops in front of the door to this bedroom. And she goes, "What's in here?" And I said, "Oh, that's just another bedroom. I keep that door closed."
Now, wait a minute. Now, let me ask you this. Was that room that she stopped in front of, was that your daughter's room?
It was Laurel and Courtney, I think, shared.
Did Courtney stay in that room? 'Cause I remember
Courtney did. Laurel did too.
Well, that was what I was thinking, because I remember specifically that room that Courtney stayed in. She wasn't staying in it at the time that I was there, but it was later on.
Yeah.
But when I did, finally do a walkthrough of that house, or actually come to some kind of feelings about something there, that room was definitely the worst.
Yeah.
There was something heavy in that room.
So she goes to the room, the same one you're talking about.
Yeah.
She goes to the door, and she said, "I want to go in there." I said, "Okay." I opened the door. Now, at this point, the girls were gone. There wasn't even a bed in there, so it was just an empty room. She walks in, and she puts one hand under her arm, and the other one I remember her putting over her mouth, and she was looking down. And I stepped inside the room, and it took my breath. It was very heavy feeling came on me, and without me, I kind of took myself. She turns around and she goes, "Get out!" And I looked at her and I backed out. And as soon as I left the room, whatever it was left. And I remember saying, "Bullshit." And I stepped back in the room, and it came back on me. She goes, "Kevin, there's a portal in here, and they're moving back and forth into this room, and they are very, very whatever I can't remember the word she used, upset with you. So stay out of this room. And when I walked back in the room, it came back on me. I had to leave the room. I said, that's crazy. It's almost like when you go to talking about a spirit coming on you, it's almost like you're having an anxiety attack. Yeah, it's very heavy. You try to catch your breath. It's crazy. Well, anyway.
That's funny that you mentioned that, because that's the main reason why I take anti-anxiety medicine before I do a walkthrough. It does exactly feel like that.
Yeah. Anyway, we're sitting there and we're standing outside the door. The door's open, and she points, and there's no way. I go back in the room because at this point I'm pissed off. So she's pointing, and she's going, there's a portal right there. And I go in there and I told her, it was on the baseboard, and I tell her, I said, show me. And she pointed to a spot on the baseboard. And I said, several months before, my stepdaughter was screaming, and she come running into the bedroom, and she was like, Daddy, something's trying to come through the wall at me. Well, her sitting there doing all that, and I'm thinking that, old house, big ass rat.
Big rat?
Yeah. So I grabbed an aluminum baseball bat. I go in there and crack that baseboard 4 or 5 times, and I said, if it's coming through the wall at you, it ain't happy. Well, she was pointing at the same spot that I had hit the baseboard with the baseball bat.
See, I'm not discluding that she says that there's a portal. I've heard other people speak about portals. I have never myself personally witnessed a portal. From what I understand, it's just like an energy, some kind of energy that's different. I don't know a lot about portals personally.
Yeah, the thing about it is, and I want to explain to the viewers that paranormal investigations is a pseudoscience. You're gonna have people out there that's gonna have doctor before their name, and I'm Doctor blah blah blah, and I've got a degree in engineering and rocket science and all that. And they know no more than the 2 guys sitting right here at this table. Right. Why? Because nobody, and I mean nobody, is an expert when it comes to the paranormal field. All of it's pseudoscience.
I don't know what pseudoscience means, but I know that.
Well, pseudoscience is when you study something and there's no known facts. You cannot base anything on facts. There's no way of going to the other side and saying, oh, yes, this exists, because nobody's been there. People say they've been there. I died and I come back.
Well, they didn't go up there and bring something back that says, hey, look, I brought this back from over there. I got you. There's no physical evidence of it.
Yeah, it's pseudoscience. So, there's no experts in the paranormal field. People will come, they'll call me up and they'll say, hey, Casper Hunter, this, and this is happening. And this other people I got to come in, they said it was this. And I said, well, it could be this, or it could be, there could be a scientific explanation behind what you're experiencing. Now, if we can find a scientific explanation as to what you're experiencing, that's science.
Well, that's
and I could do that's science.
That would be our answer to their question about it.
But you disprove paranormal at that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
that's what we started out to do when we started all this. And all of it came from, and it started from the
Gilmore House.
We started out to disprove some of this stuff and wound up proving it.
So, to continue with the story, I'm sorry I got off trying to explain where the paranormal realm falls, and you know, you got half-wits out there that claim to be paranormal scientists, and really, you can study the paranormal all you want. You're no more an expert. Ghostbusters, Linda. Anyway, back to the Gilmore House. So I tell her about what Laurel had experienced, and she goes, "Yeah, that would make sense. It's a portal." She goes, "Kevin, I got a group of people out of Florida. It was what was it, North Florida,
something like that.
North Florida Paranormal Investigation." These guys show up in like three or four.
It was two people that came, two different ones that came.
It was two different groups. Well, the one group came twice, and then the G.I. Joe.
The G.I. Joes. I remember the G.I. Joes.
But G.I. Joe. Anyway, the first group they come up in SUVs, had the lettering, and it was like North Florida Paranormal. They were serious. They had infrared. They had night vision. So anyway, and I do have a picture of the window. I found a picture of the window today. In the study, they were setting up a camera, and I was in there talking to the guy. He was a younger guy. It was pretty cool, and I was sitting there talking to him, and all of a sudden, we hear glass shatter, and we look, and one of the panes on the glass was busted out, and we go look. We go and look. We're investigating. There's no glass on the inside, so we go outside. There was a broom laying down on the porch, but I told them that broom had been laying there all day. Yeah. The glass was on the outside of the window. So the glass exploded out of the house, not inside the house. So their main investigator said, "Oh, somebody hit it with the broom."
But the inside pane wasn't busted, right?
That it was the square old timey pane.
Right.
Now, keep in mind that the house could be around 100 years old, and we're looking at the possibility of maybe a shift could have busted the window, but why did it just bust one pane? When it cracked other panes or something? You go to trying to rationalize things. One guy, the head guy, said, "Well, somebody could have shot it with a BB gun." And once again, I said, but we would have had to shoot it with the BB gun on the inside. Mm-hmm. And they go to looking on the camera, and they say, "Well, nothing's here on the camera." And that kind of made me question things, because if you're not seeing with all this expensive equipment that you've got, that's why we kept it simple. Right. Remember, they had all this expensive equipment, and they didn't capture what busted the window. They had no evidence of what busted the window. So, we would sit up. I think it was around 3 o'clock in the morning that night. They would leave, and twice they came into my house and provided me with zero
no
evidence. They tell me, "Oh, we're working on things."
We're analyzing the data.
We're analyzing the data is what they kept telling me. Well, you had the one woman, the one that set it up.
Yeah.
She came in the same night. She told that same bedroom that I was having problems in. She tells me the house used to be a halfway house for drug addicts, and I would have parties. I ain't saying that I would get drunk and bow toward the porcelain god Ralph, but I would have probably a drink, and I allowed drinking going on. She come to me and told me that there's a woman in there, and the woman did not like me
Because of the partying?
Said I was a party boy. She said it communicated.
I had never heard that.
So, I mean, this is the stuff that she had told me.
Right.
So, all right. So, continuing with everything, me and David sit and we decide, hey, we can do this crap.
Yeah. We can probably do a better job.
Yeah, we do a better job than what the.
It looks simple.
So.
I mean, I remember sitting there with the G.I. Joe guys were there.
Yeah, the
G.I. Joe. Like watching them. I was just like, it was kind of cool, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but they were climbing around in the attic. They were using a flash. Never use a flash. These lights create entities in your pictures. Any type of light your camera is going to pull from and create an entity. That's the reason if you're using a flash, you're outside at night, you're going to see little spots that people call orbs, and all it is the atmospheric interference, trash, dust, moisture in the air, and most of that can be explained by light reflecting off of an object. So, all right. So, me and David decide that we're gonna set up and we're gonna do the investigation into the Gilmore House.
Right.
What happens is I have a friend that is departed. She passed away last year, and I'm not going to call her name because I have not reached out to her family to ask them could I use her name. But she became my mentor, and she was like, Kevin, she always called me Casper because I had posted it all over Casper Hunter. I've had the Casper Hunter Facebook page for, I don't know, 14, 15 years. So, and Casper Hunter's play on words, ghost hunter. So she says, do not investigate your own home. And I was like, well, why not? I'm new at this. She goes, if you go to investigate in your own home, you're inviting things into your home that you do not want. They will come. You have opened the door. You've opened Pandora's box. Leave it alone. Find other things to learn off of. Don't do your own home. And I said, well, I've already had two crews come in, 4 times total, to investigate the Gilmore House. You was going to say something?
No, go ahead, I'm listening.
She was very, stern about telling me not to investigate my own place. You do not crap where you eat. Basically, is the way she put it. So she told me a lot. I don't agree with all the stuff that she believed in or the things that she done. She dealt with hostile hunts, and we didn't really. If I had an issue where it was a hostile hunt, I would reach out to her and her team and tell them about it, and they would try to find some group in this area that could deal with it. So, all right. So, in about 2013, I was like, I bought the house in 2008. About 2013, 2012 maybe. I got hit by lightning on the front porch. You don't remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
Somebody was wanting a hamburger,
Okay.
and it was lightning outside, and that's got nothing to do with paranormal. That is para-stupid. Don't grill in a lightning storm. I don't care if you're under a shed, you're on a porch, you don't grill. And the best thing you can do is go sit down on the couch and pray that it doesn't come into the house and hunt you down.
Life lessons by Kevin.
Yep, there you go. Got struck by lightning. Anyway, we had some situations where people have came over to the house and they was part of whatever's going on. David has experienced some of the stuff that took place in the Gilmore House, and what is some of your experiences that?
Well, you got to remember that back then I wasn't fully accepting of my own gift curse at this point. I knew that I was like a sensitive. I could feel environments. I could walk in the room and say, okay, this room feels heavy, and that room over there doesn't. And I could do things like that. And it's not that the information wasn't coming to me. It would come to me. I would just be scared to say it. I didn't want to be wrong, So at this point, I was still in the closet. I was in the closet medium, so to speak. But some of the experiences I had in this house was definitely filling that one room that Courtney stayed in. I did not like that room. That room was 100%. And I preached on the difference between a spirit that's passed over and a demon. I've said differences between that already. Mm-hmm. But that room, it was so dark and it was so heavy that I could not tell the difference. And that was the only time in my life that I could not tell the difference, was that one house. But other than that, the only other thing that I could recall, and I could tell you myself, is that I heard the door open one day, and we was in your bedroom, back in the back of the house. Your front door opened. It was one of those big doors. I mean, this thing was 100 pounds if it was a pound. And it opens, very distinctive sound. You hear somebody say, "Kevin!" And then you hear the door shut. And then we were just like, we wasn't thinking nothing paranormal. We just was like, let's go see who's here. So we walk out, and we get to the room, to the living room. We're looking, and there's nobody there. We're like, you said, well, was it Alan or something? You went, Alan's not home. He's at work. You walk outside real fast. There's nobody outside. It's just like, and then you were like, this happens all the damn time. You just don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I did experience that though.
But that, and you talking about the females. There was a couple times when I would be in the shower, and I would hear a female, and this was when I stayed there by myself. I would hear a female say, "Kevin," and I would get out of the shower, dry off, wrap the thing, go to the front door. The front door would be locked. But yeah, I would be I'd check out all the doors and everything. The way this thing was structured, we had the big house, and then behind the house was a 2-story duplex apartment that we also owned. So there was some strong feeling in the Gilmore House. We've had several groups come in the Gilmore House. I would like to now, being that I no longer live in the Gilmore House, I would like a chance to investigate it now, because I no longer live in that house. The house has been moved. I think they moved it to Millwood or Manor or somewhere. So I would like the opportunity to go back and see what I can find. I mean, David, we've been some paranormal investigations where we've nailed it. We've nailed it. The people, we have video. We no longer have video evidence. Right. I mean, it's stuff that we lost some of the data. We lost some of the data because of old computers.
Yeah, I mean, we would have EVP evidence prior to even sitting down talking with the family.
Yep.
And then once you had that confirmation from the family, and you get the family sitting there crying, not crying as in like they're sad, but it's like you can bring that family some, what's the word?
Closure.
Everybody? Closure is a good word. Yeah, that's it. We can bring that family closure, because now that we made a connection directly with that person or persons through our investigation. Yeah. And that's what really it should be about.
Yeah.
And that was the reason why we really started. Also, you got a bunch of fakers out there. We don't need to start on that. We'll be here all freaking night.
I wanted to touch base and explain a little bit about Now, she said there was portal, but there was also she called out 3 names, and she said one of them there was a white guy, an African American guy, and then the old lady.
I remember. I remember that old lady.
And she said the old lady didn't like me. The white guy the white guy had hung himself in the bathroom. See, that's what she told me. And then we go to researching some of this stuff, and of course you have to go some of the stuff you have to go to the library and look at microfiche and try to find information. But we wound up finding out that there was a suicide that happened at the house. It was back in the 70s or 80s, and it created a lost soul or a lost spirit that was trying to find itself. So I don't know. We got 2 viewers that say, one of y'all got a question that you would like to ask about any of, if you got a question, put it in the comments, and we'll try to answer some questions at this point, and try to bring you into the program with us.
I remember when they was not tearing down the house, but jacking up that old house, and I was saying, "Whoo, whoever bought that house, I don't know what they got themselves into there." It seems like, I heard a story. I don't know if this is true or not, because I don't think we ever did the background checking on it, but I heard a story. I heard a story that the house next door was used as some kind of hospital in the Civil War or era or something like that, but I don't know if that's true.
So the house that was catty corner on Corridor Z in Gilmore, the big 2-story greenhouse that caught on fire, that was a Civil War hospital.
Isn't it weird how they always catch on fire eventually?
Yeah. Well, that could be because
they're old.
Could be because of old and faulty wire.
Take some questions. Excuse me, guys.
All right, so let's see if we got anybody asking any questions. I don't know how to do this. So, anybody, were you ever able to capture any evidence about the activity in the house? And I want to let everybody know this is Connie Lee. Connie is a friend of mine. She is, I believe, the lead. She is at Ware County or Okefenokee Paranormal Society.
Okay.
She's the person that runs that. Connie, we have not. I've never had any evidence at the house besides the pictures that I took.
I was going to say.
All right, so David had asked me the other day that I have the picture of Jalen sitting at the table. Jalen is now 15, and I think he was about 4 or 5 at the time. I never seen it in the picture until today, and I looked at the picture and I put it on my big screen TV, and sure enough, there's a woman standing behind my son. I kept focusing on something else that you couldn't really see, so that's what I was focusing on. Was little balls of light that was in the picture. So to tell you, did we ever really get any hard evidence? Because pictures can be. Thank you, Connie. It's Ware County Paranormal Society. To say that we ever got any true evidence, pictures can be manipulated, and I can tell you to look at this picture. And there's a face in it, and 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be able to see the face. But if I keep telling you there's a face in that picture, eventually you're going to start seeing the face. So I can manipulate you into believing something, and I can manipulate. Yeah, Tina. Tina's also worked with me.
Let me talk about orbs.
That's Blaine. Tina's also worked with me, and Tina has a very acute skill. Is that what? Can I say acute?
I don't know what Tina's skill is. So
Tina's pretty darn on it too with the medium. Yes.
Okay.
So Tina, David is the medium that has worked with me for 20 years.
Yes.
Doing this, and I've told him bits and pieces about you and
Tina.
Michelle.
I don't think I've ever met Tina.
Yeah.
But I have heard a lot about Tina.
So we are going to share the pictures on Paranormal Plus. They are pictures that I pulled from Casper Hunter, but since we have a new audience, I want to refresh the pictures on Paranormal Plus to share, so you guys can look. There's Michelle. Michelle's she's went with me to St. Mary's and Kingsland, and I think you did some over here, didn't you, Michelle? Anyway, back what I was talking about.
Where did we leave off at?
Huh?
Where did we leave off at?
Well, they were asking me, because I'm answering questions.
Okay.
They were asking me Connie asked, had I ever got any evidence out of the Gilmore House? Any hard evidence? And besides the grainy pictures, they were old.
They were grainy, but
back then,
oddities almost.
Yeah, back then, our focus wasn't on. My focus, because I lived in the house, was not on. I didn't give a crap about no darn picture. I was taking the pictures. Well, one was of my son. I wasn't trying to take a picture of anything but my son. And the other one was when I was in the bedroom that night.
Tell about the one with the son, because I want to make a point after that.
All right, so, and it's like I told you a while ago, we were in the dining room, and Jalen was sitting. He was about 4 or 5 years old. I took a picture of him, and there was like some Blaine called it out a while ago as being orbs, and I didn't use a flash, so you have a legit type thing going on here where a flash wasn't used, and you're picking up some balls of light. But everybody that I showed the picture to, when I went to saying this house is haunted and there's things going on in this house, I showed them the picture. Everybody kept talking about the woman that was standing behind my son Jalen.
That's what I'm sitting here biting my tongue. I'm like,
and I swear to God, to this day, I had never. They tried to point it out, and I was like, I don't see it. But I was looking in the wrong place. When I put it on the big screen today.
You seen it today?
Time I put it up there, I said it's in the hallway.
Yeah.
I was looking at the door jam because everybody kept saying it right
there.
there.
You can see her.
Yeah. I mean, I'm old, man. My eyesight, shit. So, I mean, look, I got glasses. Blaine asked, "What about Miss Miller's?" We will talk about that another time. Tonight we're talking about the Gilmore House, and you're right. I do want to talk about the old farmhouse that we lived in.
See, I don't know nothing about that, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we will talk about it on another.
So, here's something I want to bring up about pictures, and really the one I'm going to specify here is the one that we got over here in Cherokee Heights that night, and we took the pictures, randomness, just take pictures, hoping to catch something. Looked over all of the pictures, right? Didn't think we caught anything. Then one of us seen it, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. There was a child underneath the desk. It looked like what is those things called where women sit there and put on their makeup? What are they called, ladies? You sit there and you got lights on vanity. Yeah. So there's a vanity, and there's a child. You can see the child's face, she's scared, and she's there underneath the vanity. And we had looked at that picture countless times prior. But that's the thing about doing this is that child was there the entire time. We just didn't see it.
Well, I mean, we're going to talk about the Dubose house also. The house was built in 1911.
Yeah,
and it was built by a woman that came over from France, and she was a Dubose was her name. And there's a lot of information I wound up getting after we went in, and we're going to talk about that in a few weeks. Very interesting place, very interesting pictures.
Yeah, it was. We'll get there.
To try to close out, we only wanted to do an hour. We got 12 minutes to go, so I want to close out with the Gilmore House. Very, very beautiful old house. I don't know why the things were happening there. Like I said, paranormal investigations is a pseudoscience.
Yeah.
And if you need me to explain to you what a pseudoscience is and break it down to you, message me and I will break it down to you, or you can look it up.
Well, the thing I want to say about this pseudoscience deal is that everything that me and you have learned over these past few years is things that we've witnessed and gone through personally.
Yes.
It's not something that we watched on TV and said, "Ooh, we're going to do that." No, this is things that we've actually experienced firsthand, and we've learned from those things, and that's our foundation. And that house was the foundation that started. What? How many years of it?
Well, we've been doing it for. Well, actually,
we haven't even got started yet.
Together, we from 2009 to now. So you got about 14 years.
But I mean, that house we haven't even started touching on some real interesting times yet.
As somebody asked me the other day, that was like, "Have you been around the world doing paranormal investigations?" And I've been around the world.
I don't think you need to go to the south a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we got, man, there's so many places around southeast Georgia just by itself that we did the hospital, the old hospital with Candace, Miss Higgs, and we went to the cabin up in. You were at the cabin up in Odin?
Odin? I don't know. I got a bad memory.
We went out in the middle of nowhere. The woman, she prepared us food and stuff when we got there.
Well, that's probably what messed me up.
Yeah, it probably did.
You can't feed me when
there was a little girl hiding.
I'm done.
Well, I mean, it's one of the cases where the little girl was hiding in the bathroom. I will jog your memory later on in the week, and you'll say, "Oh yeah, I remember."
Okay.
Y'all got to realize, between the two of us, we probably investigated some 200 places, and not all of them were haunted by spirits.
No.
Maybe they were taking spirits, but not all of them were haunted by spirits.
Yes. Connie, yes.
We've come across some pure out wax.
I'm going to answer Connie's question for a second. We have been there several times. We've actually done a tour there one night.
Yeah.
It was freezing cold. I don't know why we was doing that, but
we didn't have permission.
We wasn't prepared to even do it. It was just
they called us up and said, "Hey, can you take us?" Yeah. There was like 40 people. I got pictures of that too.
I got pictures of it probably on this computer right here.
So we will share those for y'all to. The question is,
let me wait.
Should we do this every week or every other week?
I don't know. We'll talk about it whenever we get something, because we also got to think about James.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I want to talk about the Confederate prison camp real fast.
Please.
It was the place where we was at was more like a kind of like a trail, kind of like a. I don't know what you would call it, to be honest with you. When I went, it was in the woods behind the cemetery, and there was trails and they led back. But what I saw with my eye, or whatever you want to call that, I still don't know what to call that. See, but anyway, I saw old wagons, people on wagons and horses. That was camping out like right there by a big oak tree. It was
and
crazy.
with David saying that, I have other people. Jonathan Gollop is a good friend of mine. He went on some investigations with me. He told me that down there toward the river, that they would go fishing and they could hear riders on horseback.
Yeah.
Like you
That
would
could be either side of that.
the sound of the horse hooves and the rattling of like metals and stuff.
But we also I also saw an Indian, a spirit of an Indian on the other side of the graveyard. It had like the graveyard, and then it had like the fence and the wood line there. On the other side, it looked like a clay road or something. I don't know what it was. I couldn't see from where I was at. So an Indian just standing there looking at me. But the opposite side and back through those woods, I guess I'm just assuming that was a trail that led back around, because what I was seeing was an old trail. And I didn't walk all the way back around to the actual prison camp. But that was an old, what did they call it? Like a something over of Andersonville. It was something. It was a different word.
Yeah. They had the road. Wait, you know what? We'll get into that another day. I'll explain all the history and how General Blackshear built the road and stuff between the two prison camps. But anyway, I was wanting to say something about the closing tonight. We had a few people come on and ask questions, and we appreciate that. We have a audio issue. If you're having problems hearing us, we tried to work on it. Everything was working fine the last few practices. Tonight we get in here and it kind of sounds grainy and weak sounding audio.
Yeah.
So we will try to get that fixed so you can hear us better.
That's cool. We try to do that.
Well, I plan on having Connie come on.
That'd be great.
Also Michelle and Tina. I'd like them both to come on.
So what we're gonna do next episode?
We probably, I don't know what is the creepiest, scariest place you ever been with me?
Where I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm 6'2".
Yeah.
I'm a big boy.
I already know.
All right. It
know.
was a single wide trailer, mobile home trailer.
Virginia Avenue,
Virginia
right?
Avenue,
Out by the high school.
Yeah.
Virginia Avenue. That would be a good topic.
Dude, I don't know if I want to talk about that. That's bad.
Well, I mean,
we can for education.
Sherry Meese went with us.
Horrible.
Jordan.
The owner wouldn't even walk in his own.
No, the owner would not walk into this place. He was scared of it. He said, "I cannot." He goes, "We rent it out. We can't keep nobody in there more than a week to 2 weeks." They said they just disappear.
And we have photographic evidence of what we saw that made me climb up this guy's back.
Yep.
And scream like a girl.
Yep.
So,
David, you know what? We're gonna save that for either next week or the week after. We want to close. We wanted to keep this at an hour, and we're right at an hour. You guys, you got your questions stuff. We're gonna try to have it where you can call in future, and we will have you on the podcast with us. Like I said, we're having sound issues. This thing right here.
Yeah.
I
doubt they can hear me very well.
Yeah, y'all probably can't hear. He's whining anyway. So.
What are you gonna do?
All right, so we're gonna close, and I appreciate everybody who logged in tonight and listened, and I hope if you have a
lot of touching. What? She said a lot of touching.
A lot of touching.
Who's touching, Tina? You can play it. Go ahead.
No, I mean, we were.
Rock it.
Okay. I was trying to figure out what Tina was talking about. I ain't touching David. I'm trying to stay away from him. We're social distancing here. Regardless, Tina, you know me. We're gonna be back on. We'll discuss whether or not we're gonna do this weekly. All the way
through it weekly. It's fun. I mean, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I hope I gave y'all a little bit of information into how me and David got started. It was about the Gilmore House.
And if you guys want to know about any type of personal readings from myself, I haven't done those in a long time, but just get with Kevin about that, and we'll see if we can do it. I don't do it for educational purposes. I will not do it. I'll just tell you that flat out right now. I will not do it to educate. Did I say educate? Entertainment purposes. I will not do it to entertain people. But if it's for a special reason for closure, we can talk about that.
Tina said at the trailer, yeah, there was a lot of touching.
You know what?
We could dive into this.
It's a touching. Well,
we can dive into this.
Tune in next week.
But you're gonna have. That's it. You're gonna have to listen to it next week. Hopefully, we can get this audio problem. We're gonna take a look at it and see if we can get the sound better. We really appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Checking us out. That makes sense. What makes sense, Michelle?
Come on, we got about a minute and a half. Let's go.
Yeah.
Chop, chop.
You gotta listen a minute. You gotta listen a minute. We're gonna shut it down. You don't ask me what makes sense, and we're gonna shut it. Go till we see y'all next time. Y'all be safe. God bless, and remember, Paranormal Plus. We're only gonna bring you real stuff, and it's not gonna be scripted.
Wait, one more thing. You know, before we go, probably starting next month, we're gonna have some giveaways that we're gonna start doing, and you're gonna find out more about that next episode.
The next episode.
So we'll see you guys then. Entertainment purposes only. No, I'm not doing entertainment purposes. I would do a reading still for closure for someone that's suffering and something like that for a real reason. But I would not do it for entertainment purposes. But you do it. You can do it just as good as I.
Oh yeah, I've heard. Michelle's real good. Tina's done things that just blew me away. When she sat at my place that I live now, there's no way Tina knew some of the stuff she was telling about that. Tina is, I don't know the Indian tribe she's from, but she's not from here. She's from Texas, and there's no way she knew the stuff that she was telling me. And I mean, she was daggone dead on it.
Okay.
So, all right,
we're good.
We got to go, guys. We've enjoyed it, and we will bring you
next week probably. Next week.
I'm good with next week.
Next week we'll have another one.
All right.
Bye.